Good morning, everyone. We're going to talk today about how to open and run a successful restaurant. And if you've ever been in the restaurant business or ever worked in a restaurant, you know it ain't easy. And that's what we want to talk about today because, well, it's tough out there. It's not easy
It,
to run
it
a
really.
restaurant.
So the
I'm sorry.
context numbers are simple. 90% of all restaurants that open will close within the first year. Of the 10% left, 50% will close in the second year. There are four types of restaurants. There's diners, walk-through or drive-through, fast food, as most of you know. A buffet where you sit down and make your choices in a long line of other people, and of course, sit down or full service. The importance of the restaurant business is location, location, location. This is because you don't want any snow days. You don't want to be open and literally no one comes through the door. And you want to be close to a residential area, residential housing, whether that be in an urban setting downstairs, downtown with condos. You don't want a second floor restaurant, not very successful. They've been tried, but they're not entirely successful. Street level is always the best for people to walk in that don't even know you. The other thing that you want to keep in mind too is always maintaining a captive audience, particularly in your own neighborhood with flyers and information that people can get, takeout menus. And serving takeout's really important. That's how restaurants have survived in COVID. After the location, the second importance aspect of a new restaurant is the ambience. The height of the ceilings is important because the higher the ceilings are, the more noise that's created. And then you have to fill that space in with expensive things that hang, like chandeliers or plants or something to fill the space and break down the noise. Lighting, of course, is important. People want to be able to see whether you have that at the table setting or from above. And seating is always important. There's different types of seating: chairs, booths, and tables. And you always have an array of tables. A table for two that can be, folded or moved to be a table of four, a table of eight, or larger tables. Some restaurants have sitting rooms that are separate because they're high end and full service. It's interesting that. Uh, I've looked in the past and what I've done, and I've never really wanted to have plants in a restaurant because there's so much maintenance involved. So you don't want them either. If you're going to put plants in, put fake ones in that look pretty good, and then from a distance you can't tell. And then you always want to think about the colors that you have. Soft pastel colors are the rage. In the 70s and 80s, the prison industry discovered orange was the safest color to use. Variants of orange are good. You don't want too masculine of colors or too feminine of colors. So you have to find a mid row and pick colors you like the most. That tends to be the best thing. You want to pick furniture, of course, that make people comfortable to sit down for about an hour. So not too comfortable. They sit there longer than you want, because the importance in a restaurant, particularly a sit down full service, is the turnover. Turnover meaning, when do they get in and when do they get out? The operations, there's only two parts of operations to a restaurant: the front, and it's important there because cash is taken, and you always want to keep track of the cash as much as you can. You'd be surprised how much ends up being taken from the till. And then there's the back. The back end represents the food production, liquor production, if it's a bar, for bar service, or wine, where you store your wine. And it's important too that you check and make sure that back door is locked, because things can go out the back door just as easily as they can go out the front door. Cost, of course, to profit is everything that everyone looks at. The average food price per person is very relevant. In the fast food industry, it's 6 to 10. Family restaurants, it's 15 to 20, and full end service can be 35 to 75, or even up to $1,000, depending on the wine or the alcohol that's drank. Menu is a very important aspect of the restaurant business. The reason being is inventory. Food costs are the biggest cost after labor, and then the third biggest cost is your rent, or what you pay for the building that you're in. So you want to make sure that your menu includes everything that you want to serve, and make sure you limit it, because the larger the menu, uh, the more capital is required for inventory. So if you notice on menus next time you sit down, you'll find that 50% of the menu is few items, meaning there it's repetitive. Like 80% of the item might be use of a single product. As an example, there's a lot of ways to serve chicken, and steaks are big in the restaurant industry. So the key to steaks is never overcook them. Always undercook them, because you can cook them more, but you can't uncook them. And waste is important. So an example of waste would be serving prime rib, that's rare nowadays because it's so expensive. But there is the benefit of beef dip if you have or serve lunch, or to feed your staff, which most restaurants do, by the way. Um, Dishes are an important aspect of the ambience in a sit down full service restaurant. Of course, if you go into a fast food place, you'll find that you spend more on what you throw away than what you eat. It's rather remarkable, that bag that it's in, the napkins, the ketchup, the paper bag to hold the fries, the paper wrap for the burger, the cap to the drink is the cup itself, and a straw. You throw all that away, and it literally costs more than what you're eating. So, in a restaurant business, other than that, dishes are important. So is silverware, and you have to have things they call condiments on the table. So you have to situate and make choices of condiments depending on the food you serve. You know, ketchup, mustard, salt and pepper, different seasonings, hot seasonings, other choices of enjoyment for uh, your guests to enjoy. But it's always important because you have to maintain these things, and they have to be disposed of and cleared and cleaned constantly, particularly in the age of COVID. Inline service to full service is a big rarity to discriminate against, depending on the type of restaurant you have, because obviously takeout is in and out, but you still may have a full service sit down restaurant. And then, of course, the most important thing is staff. I bring this up last because training, training, training. You have to know from your own experience what you're going to teach your staff. And remember, you compliment public in front of a staff, and you sit down and criticize or correct in private. Best way to find good employees: steal them. Go and go and visit restaurants in your area, or if you've already know your area and you've sought out where you're going to be. If you within 2 blocks, you can find an entire staff, and bribery works. There's great ways of being able to get people into your restaurant. You offer them food. You give them certificates to bring their guests or friends in for first 3 months, and you'll find that a good business plan, marketing plan, and a sales projection, which covers all your costs and allow you to appreciate the benefit that you can gain. You can make a lot of money in the restaurant business, but you can lose far more than you make. So you always have to charge what you need to make money. Never be afraid to charge what you need. It's as simple as preparing a meal, and in that meal there's a recipe, and literally you have to sit down with everything you have on your menu and go through what you need to prepare that dish, right down to the spices that you put on every item that you prepare. That's how extreme it is. That's the work that you have to put in, and that's your list of how to open a successful restaurant.
Well, we got some other things to talk about too, Shane. When you talk about location, for example, one of the things you need to know is the neighborhood and what's the makeup of the neighborhood and your zip code. And you can find that at census.gov. Census.gov will give you the makeup of any zip code, how many, how diverse it is, and that will help you as well. The other thing we need to touch on for sure is the health department and city regulations, because you're going to have to adhere to. In restaurants in California, I know they get an A, B, C, D rating that they have to post in their window. So, what can you tell us about health department and working with cities and signage, things like that?
Well, in your business plan, you'll want to put together the guidelines and all the rules that you're dealing with. Most cities will provide you all of that. And of course, as you're opening and preparing the restaurant, remember, do not buy anything new. That's the worst kick in setting up a new restaurant is being, thinking or being sold new equipment. There are way too many places that go broke because of the equipment they buy at the beginning. You can find great, uh, practically, if not new, equipment because 90% of the restaurants fail in the first year. So, go to auctions to buy everything. Everything you purchase, go to auctions. Even dishes. You can go to estate sales and find great dishes, great dish sets. Your dishes don't have to all match, but for the table they should match. So there's all kinds of neat things, and of course your website. We talk about that all the time, and I just want to step on that for one moment because it's an understood fact. You'll set up a website for people to come in the 21st century and offer your takeout information and provide what's on your menu for people to make reservations or to call and make inquiries about. A wine list is a great draw for people because people in full service restaurants, they want to impress people. Big part of how easily can someone impress their guests with what they not only eat but they drink.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, another thing we've got to talk about for sure is that I don't know if you realize this, Shane. Facebook won't pay you to make videos. Twitter won't pay you to make videos. LinkedIn won't pay you to make videos. Instagram won't pay you to make videos. Spotify won't, but YouTube will. YouTube will pay you to make videos just like this. And if you'd like to know how we do it, we use StreamYard, and the description and link to that is in the below. Plus, we've also got all the equipment we use to make these podcasts, so you'll want to check those out as well. And if you're just joining us, of course, don't forget to subscribe. Ring the notification bell to like us. If you liked any of the tips that Shane has given today, comment down below. Let us know what you think, and what are your tips for a restaurant. What do you like when you go into a restaurant? What are the things that you're looking for besides just a good meal and a good dining experience? What triggers do you say right off the bat, I like this place or I hate this place? So by all means, check
And then
all of those things out.
another winner for you is in the marketing side. Famous people like to be seen, and they like to go to restaurants because they have the expendable income to do so. So my advice is always be courteous and ask if you can take their picture. And if you do, have a picture taken with the server that served them, and then put that on the wall. And in this age, you can do up a picture, print it in the back, and bring it out, have them sign it. And I always have the same frame. Don't change the frame. I always have the same frame and have a wall of famous people. You don't have to put that up there, but pick a wall in your restaurant of the people that have eaten in your restaurant. It's a good draw and it's a good selling point because if people see who's eating there and they recognize him, then they know this is a good place to eat.
Yeah. And you'll also find more tips at tomandshane.com. Small business videos, articles, and tips are over there. So make sure that you go over and check that out as well. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up for this segment. And by all means, our YouTube channel, we've got tons of videos on how to do all kinds of things in business. So check those out, and we will see you. We'll hear you on the radio this coming Saturday. So all the info on that's in the description below. So until then, thanks, Shane. Thanks for everybody watching and listening, and we'll see you down the road.